Hey everyone, it's me Lone. I hope you're doing all right. We are getting more and more leaks about this potential upcoming Xbox and Bethesda event, where they supposedly still plan to show off a bunch of content from games that they're releasing in the first half of this year, at least. Jez Corden is back at it again. It always seems to be him. His article is linked in the description below. We're going to be talking about the key points, of course, in this video. But there he talks about the potential name of the event, the date that it's taking place on, the general theme, content, and vibe, if you will, of the event, and a key bit of information about Starfield that, brace yourselves, it might actually be skipping out on the show. We're going to be talking about that later in the video. I'll explain why none of us should really be surprised by that if it's true, but we'll get into it. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. I'd really appreciate it. Subscribe if you're new. But let's start off by reading verbatim some of the key points of Jez Corden's article. So there he says the following. I heard that there was an Xbox showcase on the horizon back in December, as we discussed on our Xbox 2 podcast, but I've since been able to lock the information down with a variety of sources familiar with Microsoft's plans. It seems the show will be called a Developer_Direct and may be part of a new initiative from Microsoft and Xbox to offer information on upcoming games more frequently, outside of the major E3 and Game Awards marketing beats. From what we understand, the Developer_Direct show is slated for January 25 at 12 PM PT on Xbox's official channels on Twitch and YouTube, although these dates may be subject to change. The show will be hosted by both Xbox and Bethesda, which deep dives into Redfall, Minecraft Legends, Forza Motorsport, and content from ZeniMax Online Studios. Now here is the key bit, alright, brace yourselves if you're excited about Starfield. From what we understand, this won't be a full-blown E3 scale kind of show and will be a more intimate look at some upcoming exclusives. As such, we've heard Starfield may even be skipping this show for a bigger marketing beat later on. So I want to clarify about that particular point as well about Starfield before we continue with the video. Jez Corden did send out a follow-up tweet later on, which said that he's less sure about that particular piece of information of Starfield. So he's of course much more certain. Sources have told him about the name of the event, the date that it's taking place. And as I've always said, Jez Corden is very credible, so I think we can take those with less of a grain of salt. But when it comes to the Starfield bit of information about how it might be actually skipping out on the event, you need to take that with the biggest grain of salt in the world, because he doesn't even believe that it's 100% true. And let's say, and as I said, I'm going to be talking about this so much in my head. I'm going to be talking about this later in the video. But even if Starfield is missing out on the show in a substantive way, I do not believe that it's not going to get a mention at all. I think that would be absolute suicide on the part of Xbox and Bethesda, right? I expect at minimum someone like Pete Hines or Todd Howard coming out and saying, we're still working on Starfield. It's okay. We're going to have more information soon. At the very least, hopefully, we get that, all right? But I will be talking about that later on in the video. So let's generally talk about the event itself and what I think about it. I think it's a great idea. I am a huge fan of Nintendo Direct styles of show because, as Jez Corden said in the video, they more frequently allow companies like Nintendo, like Xbox, like, PlayStation, whatever it might be, they more frequently allow companies to get information and news out there when it comes to their games. As much as I love E3, the Game Awards, Gamescom, Tokyo Game Show, etc., as much as I love those big events, they don't take place that often. And if all the really big and important video game news and information are hoarded to those events, there becomes huge dry spells, huge droughts, where we literally hear nothing about our upcoming anticipated games that we're really excited about. I hate those droughts, especially as a YouTuber. You would know that we're constantly craving for information, and to go months on end without being able to, talk about anything, that sucks. But generally, I'm sure you feel it as well, it just sucks not to hear about Starfield or any of these other games for months on end. It seems like it was forever ago that the Xbox and Bethesda game showcase took place last year. And then, of course, as we know, Xbox skipped out on the Game Awards. It's been ages since we've heard a lot of decent and big information about Starfield and Redfall. We've definitely seen some other things, don't get me wrong. Again, we've seen some, Starfield consolation videos for Starfield. We saw an interview recently for Redfall, but we still don't know when the games are releasing. For Starfield, we still don't really know what the game is about. So it's been a long time. So I like this idea of more intimate events where they're releasing information much more frequently. And if Xbox get it right, they can create something big like Nintendo has. If you know with Nintendo events, like when there's a Nintendo Direct announced, it is always trending. People are so excited. They might be just like indie style Nintendo Direct events, but people always get hyped from the Nintendo Directs because they always have at least something juicy in there, something to look forward to. If Xbox can build these up correctly, we could have something nice on our hands. And the thing that I like about these more intimate styled events as well is that it allows more time to focus on the individual games being showcased. Again, as much as I love E3, as much as I love these bigger events, there's so many games talked about that it's sometimes hard, if you're an individual developer or publisher, it's hard to break through the noise, and it seems like so many things just get glossed over. Like I ask of you, can you list some of the, like all the games that were announced at the Game Awards? I guarantee that you'll struggle. There was some, new titles in there, some titles that we don't really know about, that I guarantee you don't remember the name of, and you would have to look up. That's what happens at these events. That's why, as I said, with the Game Awards, they had to literally have a pre-show to squeeze in as many announcements as they could. People were literally emailing Jeff Keighley 30 minutes before the event asking to be on the show. That's how highly contested they are, and that's why I kind of don't like them in a sense, because they don't allow individual games to truly shine, right? So I really am a big fan of these more intimate style events. And again, as I've said, I'm looking forward to Redfall. I'm interested to see what this game is going to be about. We've seen information recently that the game is not really like Borderlands, like other loot shooter style games. It's actually going to be more like Far Cry, I believe Arcane said. So very excited about Redfall. But let's talk about the elephant in the room, right? Starfield potentially not being at the event. I think we all just assume that it would be, because if Xbox has an event where they plan to talk about the games they're releasing in the first half of this year, technically we know that still includes Starfield. There was a support page that confirmed that fact. So the natural assumption is, of course Starfield's going to be at this event. Why the hell would it not be? Why the hell would they not show the release date, show new gameplay, etc.? I was seeing some people on Twitter saying it is such a bad idea if they were to skip out on the show. That's why I said at minimum, they're probably going to have at least some sort of mention about Starfield, saying that news is coming at some stage soon, right? But I can understand why people are kind of frustrated, if it's true, if Starfield's not actually going to be at the event. But let me say this. I said in my last video about, you know how Redfall is potentially being delayed to May. Again, that's still a leak, that's still rumor speculation, but it seems to be somewhat true. People thought, because Redfall is now supposedly being released in May, that probably Starfield's now suddenly going to be released before Redfall. And there are some, admittedly, some convincing dates for release dates when it comes to March or April for Starfield to come out and make sense. Some really, really nice dates in there, right? But I said in that video, how does it make sense if Redfall gets delayed that suddenly Starfield gets pushed forward? Xbox themselves had always said, Matt Booty said directly, officially on the record, that Starfield was going to be coming after Redfall. He said that. That was the plan. So how does Redfall's change in release date and change in direction suddenly give BGS more time to release the game at an earlier date? They're going to be releasing the game when they're ready. And if that was meant to be after Redfall, it's going to still be after Redfall. And if Redfall's in May, it leaves Starfield for at least June, potentially onwards. I still think it's June. It might not be 6th of June, because as some of you pointed out, that's going to be the date of Diablo. So I can understand if Bethesda don't want that kind of competition with a game, like a big game like Diablo. But I still think it's June. I still think it's 6th of June. And that's why I don't believe we should be surprised by this, right? I don't think we should be surprised that Starfield's not going to be at this event. Todd always likes to do stuff differently. He always likes to do stuff differently. We all know that, right? And as I said before, when you are part of these events that have so many different games revealed and so much other information, it can have the potential of crowding out and overwhelming some of the smaller titles that are part of those events. If Starfield was part of this event, I guarantee you it would take all the news, take all the hype, and take the wind out of the sails of games like Redfall and even like Forza Motorsport. Starfield will be the main star of the show at that event if it was taking place. So it makes sense on paper for it to get its own event. And if it does, 30 minutes, an hour, beautiful. Dedicate it to Starfield. Show us absolutely everything about the game. But don't wait too long, okay? Just do it like in February or in March. But all I'm saying, none of us should be surprised that Starfield isn't suddenly being at this event and probably coming out before Redfall, because that was never the plan. Xbox told us that directly. We should not be surprised that it's going to be coming out most likely at this stage, as we've seen with all this information. It's going to be coming out after Redfall. Let's just accept that. It's probably going to be true. But yes, I admit it sucks. It sucks that it's not going to be at this event. I thought it would still be at this event, but I'm starting to see the arguments as to why it isn't. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below, Way Sanders. It's just like, when would they do the Starfield event? Let's speculate, okay? And I don't have a script for this part. I just want to talk about Starfield. I reckon if they're doing these events more frequently, developer_directs, that you wouldn't hold it once a month, right? I think that's a bit too infrequent. If they have this event on the 25th of January, they talk about Redfall, Minecraft Legends, Forza Motorsport, etc., and Redfall still planning to come out in May, then maybe you hold another, whether it's a developer direct or like a dedicated Starfield event, probably in March, you hold that event. Smash out the release date, smash out a bunch more information about the game, what the story is actually about, what the hell is the game about, gameplay, everything. You go hard there, Todd. You do your big Fallout 4 E3 style presentation in March. And then we've got April, May, June, 3 months, which is still very short. I still think it's too short, but 3 months is fine for a marketing campaign when we have the release date. And then they can go hard. And then Redfall can come out in May. Like, you know, it leaves April to be heavy Redfall marketing, right? Redfall comes out at the start of May. And then, after Redfall is out, you switch tact. You go to Xbox changes direction and focuses on Starfield. BGS focuses on Starfield after Redfall is out. Mid to late May, you're going heavy on the information. You're putting that release date on freaking TV ads and billboards and everywhere. And then the game comes out potentially in early June, as I said. 6th of June is my guess, but let me know your thoughts in the comments below, Wastelanders. This has been the Lone Dot Wanderer, and until next time, please take care of yourself. I'm so tired, and keep fighting the good fight.